Kick it off.
Kick it off.
There you
What's up, everybody? It's A-Flex, and this is
go. DJ Q.
the Backspin Podcast. A couple DJs from St. Louis that just get together about once a week and talk all DJ shit.
Yeah.
Let's start off. How you been, man? Feels
I'm
like
good,
we
man.
haven't done this in a couple weeks.
Yeah, life be lifing, man. Things be coming up, but I had some things I had to finish. You had some things you had to take care of. It's how it goes sometimes. It's all good. We back at it.
Yeah. So just a couple of minutes ago, I didn't want to hear too much about it. You sent me a video the other day, and I didn't really get a chance to check it out.
Yeah.
But you were saying that there's a new DJ trend that you wanted to.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Get into?
See what your thoughts were about it. So Club Killers on Instagram posted. I guess they reposted a post or something about this new trend called face-to-face DJing. I guess it's something that they're doing in some club somewhere.
Okay.
Where they're setting up the DJ rigs like in a square, but then the DJs are facing each other, so they're not facing the crowd or anything. And then it's kind of almost like a boiler room type of situation where the crowd is just surrounding the DJ. So basically, like, say you put the DJ booth in the middle of the dance floor and you have two of them and they're facing each other, and then that's how they're DJing. And that's a new trend, so to speak.
Okay, but I don't think I understand the purpose. What are they trying to accomplish
knows?
with the DJs facing each other?
I don't know. And that's why I sent it to you and see what you thought about it. Cause,
Like, it looks good on camera, or like, is there some sort of like? What I'm asking is there like, I'm gonna play a song, then you play a song? Like, why do we need to stare at each other?
Right. It's the same thing as we've been doing with 2x4s forever, right? Like, if you read the comments, like, people talking about this, like the 2x4 setups where you have two DJs and they're just side to side. But I think the whole thing is just, there is another trend kind of like on top of this trend that maybe led to this trend of the boiler room style DJ setup, where the DJ is basically in the crowd.
Right.
In a sense, like, or even at some of the festivals, if you see some of the footage, like, the crowd is surrounding the DJ. And
So yeah, I know Boiler Room's been around for a long time, and they kind of had their own thing, which that would drive me nuts. I don't want people.
What DJ likes that? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, but I've seen all these videos of people bumping the cue button, or people that just like
Stopping
are grabbing
the
on you.
record,
Man,
yeah.
Why create a situation where it's like, how can we make the DJ as miserable as possible?
Miserable, uncomfortable.
Is that why it's called the Boiler Room?
I guess.
Like, trying to make
Is
the
that what it
DJ
is?
sweat.
I don't know, but like, I remember back in the day at Club XS, we did a Wednesday night industry night deal, and shout out to my boy Jason Redmond, love him to death, but he wanted to do, and they do this, he wanted to do like a VIP booth in the DJ booth, and I was like, dude, no way. Like, this is, Serato was out at the time, but this is like pre-phase, pre-any controller, you know what I mean? We're using Serato, but we're on needles, right? I was like, no way.
Right.
Like, everybody pretty much is on turntables. Some people are using CDJs. He's like, yeah, but it'd be so dope, man. You got your bottle in there. You got a table. It's like inside the booth. And I'm like, bro, no.
Yeah, what if I need to walk away for a minute?
Yeah.
Like, that as soon as you walk away from the booth to go grab a drink or whatever, like, they're going to feel like, especially some people that are liquored up and sipping on bottle service all night. They're going to walk up to the turntables and want to touch stuff. Like, it's a recipe for disaster. So, but like, I get the boiler room thing. One of the first times that I ever saw it in person was Girl Talk. I went and saw Girl Talk at Pageant with my homegirl like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what to expect. I had people like, man, if you ever get a chance to go see Girl Talk, go see Girl Talk. Mm-hmm. And he comes out and he's performing on stage for like 30 seconds, and then they let like 300 people
on stage
get on stage, and we're dancing around him. And he's playing on Ableton, though. He's not on turntables and all that kind of stuff. So he's just triggering.
It's like a pre-recorded kind of set. And he just MIDI triggering things.
Sure. All he had was a
laptop.
A laptop with Ableton, and I think he had a mouse.
He probably had, was it an APC 40? I think
No, it was just a laptop.
No,
he had a laptop that was taped to the table, and a like a booth monitor taped to the table.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that was pretty crazy, pretty hectic. But people were pretty respectful. They were, not bumping the table too much or whatever. But I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, that would drive me.
But how many videos, like you said, how many videos have you seen? And this is all over social media of people, some girl dancing next to the DJ, and they're not even in a lot of these videos. People don't even do it on purpose. They put an elbow down on the stop button.
Or just people get drunk and they're just annoying.
Yeah.
They're like sitting there trying to have a conversation with you or whatever. I'm like, man, like I know it seems like what I'm doing so easy, but you're taking me out of my flow state every time that you try and tell me about what your cat did or whatever,
Right,
So,
yeah, we don't care.
Yeah,
one thing I will say, though, about this whole thing that I saw is it did look like it was gated off. So, which could be a okay thing. But at the same time, like, why? But yeah, it looks like the DJ booth or booths are in the middle of a floor, and the people can't get to them. It's like it's fenced off or gated off, and the DJs are in there doing their thing. But you're right. Like, why do I want to stare at you in the face while I want to see the crowd? I don't.
Not to muddy the water too much and like jump topics too quickly, but a lot of those people are only DJing for an hour. Like, I think you could really put me in a crazy position for an hour if I knew that when I get to 60 minutes, I'm out of there.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure it's a pre-planned situation,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I thought it was interesting, man. Like, I saw that, and, of course, it was on Club Killers, which, we all know Club Killers, and a lot of DJs are looking at it, commenting on it, and a lot of them had the same, like, oh, we've been doing that for years. It's just 2x4, 2 DJs, two setups.
I'll keep an open mind. I'm really weary about doing 2x4 sets or whatever you want to call it, like setting up 4 turntables with other DJs these days, because a lot of DJs don't have the experience.
Oh yeah, you got to do it with somebody
You got to, well, not only somebody but somebody that knows how to mix by ear. That's gonna recognize where they should mix in and mix out, and you can do kind of little nonverbals and look at each other and just read each other's mind. Like, I don't want to do 4 turntables with just anybody.
You got to be like, it's like a band. Like, you guys like practice together. You guys got a game plan together. Yeah, it can't just be, I think you had told me about a situation where a couple of DJs showed up to DJ the other night. It can't just be that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you're here. I'm here. Let's just do 4 turntables. No, we got to have a plan.
You and I could do it.
Yeah.
Or me and Smitty could do it, or me and Charlie Chan could do it.
Right.
But, yeah, just not anybody. Like, it's just, you got to have that.
You got to have that, like, the teamwork.
The timing and the So, yeah. Are we jumping topics too quick?
Yeah,
do you want to talk about the crazy shit that happened the other night?
Let's go.
So, okay, maybe it's not super crazy, but so I DJ Friday night at Tin Roof, and there I'm playing like an early set. I'm not doing late night sets these days, which I know that's whatever.
Right.
But I'm playing 7 to 10, and my job is basically to just get the party started. If people come in early, which bachelorette parties, birthday parties, and stuff like that, sometimes they go out at 8 or 9 o'clock, and they'll bounce around bars. And if there's nothing happening, they'll leave and go to the next bar.
Right.
So Tin Roof had a good idea. I think it's a great idea, actually.
That's to have a happy hour feel.
Yeah, have an early DJ, and that way we can capture some of those small groups that are coming in. And that's what we've been doing for a few weeks. They do it Friday and Saturday night. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing Saturdays too?
Yeah, I think,
Nice.
Yeah, I think Cinnamon did Saturday this week. And which is, that's awesome it's just, for the people maybe getting a little bit older, whatever, but still want to DJ and don't want to be out all night, whether you got kids or day job or whatever. It's just, it's a beautiful situation. I think more clubs should do it. So Dex comes in, which, he does Friday nights. He's got a residency there and starts at 10. Sorry, rewind. Micro comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? Where's Dex at? And he goes, well, I got a call to come in and fill. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. And my first thought is like, man, I wonder what's going on with Dex, if he's got another gig, if he got sick, whatever. Right. So I didn't ask for a lot of detail. I just kind of took it at face value. Like, that's okay, fine. You know, don't ask any questions.
Right.
Even the manager walks up and is like, hey,
who are you?
What's going on? You know, I'm like, oh, this is Micro. He's the homie. You know, you're in good hands tonight. Whatever. You're covering for Dex. Yeah. And the booking is usually done by a fella that lives in another city, actually, and his name's Matt. But a few minutes later, like, Micro's on his second or third song, and Dex comes walking in with his controller.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was like that Spider-Man meme where everybody's, there's all three Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Looking at each other, right. Like, who messed up?
And he's going, okay, what's going on? And we don't fully realize what the situation is, except for me, because, or maybe Micro did. I don't know. Never mind. Wipe that from the story.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, who booked you? And he's like, High Noon booked me. And High Noon did the booking at Tin Roof like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's somebody totally different. It's been somebody, you know, for whatever.
Yeah, he was kind of like working out as a liaison for like the guy that was doing the booking back then. Because he didn't know. Because
he didn't know the DJs.
He didn't know anybody.
Right.
And he knew High Noon, and High Noon was like, oh, I know St. Louis guys.
So. Yeah. So basically, like, they kind of went back and forth. Well, who's going to do it? And finally, Micro was like, man, I got a 7:00 gig in the morning. So if you can do it, you do it. I don't need to do it. So Dex ended up doing it. But it was just this bizarre scenario of out of the blue. Well, I shouldn't say out of the blue, but for some reason, High Noon called. Who called you?
Well, yeah. So he called me too, but I was already booked Friday night, and it was weird because when he called me, because he does a booking for Kansas City, when he called me and we're talking, I don't know if maybe I just spaced out and thought that he was talking about Kansas City because he's booked me at Kansas City before, Tin Roof. And I was like, oh, no, man, I can't go out KC this weekend because I got my kid. But I think he was actually talking about St. Louis Tin Roof because after, you told me about this situation, I was like, wait, what? So I don't know, like, that could have been the same. That could have been me showing up.
Right.
But where was the disconnect between, like,
the regular booking guy that's got the list of DJs?
Well, the regular, him, High Noon, Matt, and Dex. Because, I mean, Micro just got a call and was like, okay, I'm available, I'll go.
Right. Yeah. Micro didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. So, like, where was the disconnect between Matt, Dex, and High Noon? Like, how did that even come about?
Well,
like, because did Dex say that he needed to fill and then turn around and
he didn't
end up? So, I wonder what happened with that.
Yeah, it's this crazy thing. And Dex was talking to me because the weekend before, actually, the owner of all the Tin Roofs and the, like, regional manager were in. They were, they stayed for my early set, and I think they stayed for some of his set. And he was like, man, I was kind of worried for a second that they replaced me and just didn't tell me, kind of like Office Space, Milton or whatever. We're just gonna put Dex down in the basement.
Yeah.
And luckily, no, that wasn't the situation. But it's just kind of weird like that. And we're all so tight. We all know each other. It just made me realize, if I get in one of those situations where something just seems a little bit off, and I know the other DJ, like, I'm gonna hit up Dex and be like, hey man, is this all good? Like, am I really supposed to cover for you?
Yeah, if Dex didn't hit Micro up, like, maybe Micro should have hit Dex and be like, yo, so I got a call about doing your gig.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where the confusion, like, happened. Something happened. Somebody was confused about something. But shit happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, there must have just been, like, some kind of miscommunication or something. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, I got the call from Noon. It was like, no, man. And again, for me, I thought he was talking about KC. So I was like, no, I can't go out to KC this weekend. But it maybe even when I said that to him, he was probably thinking, like, what's he talking about? And me and I knew were on the phone. We probably were just like, I don't know. But yeah, that's wild.
Huh. So do you have you got a couple topics for today?
I mean, there's some things that have been popping off. I don't know if you saw the little Mix Tour Pro that came out. It's an interesting piece of gear.
The Mixtor Pro, is that the laid back Luke thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what's crazy about that thing is all it is like a mixer. Imagine, remember the Vestex PMC? I want to say the
06,
the skinny one.
I got one.
Yeah, you had one, right? Yeah, you got one still. I had one, sold it. I wish I hadn't sold it, but anyway, it's like kind of like that kind of size, not as tall, right?
Right.
It's all digital.
Yeah.
But it's $500.
Yeah, I played on the old one. All right.
Oh, the Mixtor?
I think so. Yeah, this is like the third one, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. But it's like $500. But here's the thing. Like, I think it's dope.
Is it got Serato?
No. I think it can be MIDI to Serato, but it works native with the algorithm app that you can use with the cell phone.
Okay.
Which, as you know, I think that's really dope. But it's $500 though. I don't know if that's a $500 piece of gear.
I got no room to talk. If I like something, I don't care what it costs. I'm getting it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't think that like in a year from now, that's gonna hold any of its value.
Maybe you might be right. I don't know. Like, you and I are a little bit different. I don't mean to be rude, but to me, $500 is not really that much money.
It depends. Like, it's all, but
because I paid $1,700 or whatever for my last mixer. $500 seems cheap.
Yeah, but that's a mixer with a full sound card and it's a full mixer. We're talking about like a mixer with a USB port.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. What do you think the price point? If it is $300, would you be a little bit more inclined?
I'd say that thing needs to be no more than $200, $199.
I think I got to take a closer look at it. But the other thing was, I was seeing videos where I don't think he had controllers, CDJs, turntables.
No,
or whatever
you don't use any decks with it. It's got like the transport buttons on it.
Okay.
It doesn't have, and it's got like some paddles on it. I don't think it has. I don't know how you control like your pitch. But it's got some cue point buttons on it, and it's got like different banks. It's a cool piece of gear. Like, don't get me wrong, I just don't think it's worth $500. And it's not the fact that I wouldn't spend $500 on gear. It's I wouldn't spend $500 on gear that I don't think is worth $500. I think that's where our disconnect is.
Well, I also, you got to take into consideration they may not sell a lot of them. So there's a lot of R&D. There's a lot of salaries that need to be paid. There's the manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sure. But, if you put out a product that you're not going to sell a ton of, if you know you're going to sell a ton of them, you can make it a little bit cheaper because you're going to recoup your expenses. Yeah. So when you buy these, like, I don't know what to call it, boutique type items. So, because I've got right here.
Yeah, but that's got like a hard drive in it.
Yeah, this is crazy.
But that's got a hard drive in it.
I've got a OP1 Field.
I think
and you can look it up. I'm not going to tell you what.
I mean, that thing is more valuable than what we're talking about with this mixer, though.
But I think part of the pricing of this is they know they're only going to sell maybe a couple of thousand of these. Yeah, so there's a lot of.
I'm not going to buy one, but.
Well. And that's the thing. It's like a boutique thing. Like, I mean, I'm kind of flexing a little bit that I even have one because. It's ridiculous. You could buy an Apple laptop for that and get like Logic or something. But what's really cool about that, I think, is the same thing that we're talking about with the Reloop joint, which is I can take that on the plane with me and like make a full beat, like 90% of a finished beat on that thing. I mean, it's samples, sequence, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. That thing's like a mini computer, right? Like where this...
But you can take your laptop in that and mix.
But you don't need your laptop with that.
You're right. But I'm just saying, can you? I can't take my Rev 7 on the plane and actually DJ on the plane. Like if I'm going to be in the airport and on the plane, and Uber and whatever, and that whole process is going to take 8 hours. That's 8 hours of potential practice time. If I had that little thing.
And it does work with your phone. The only thing I don't know.
What's it called again?
I just said Mixtor Pro.
Mixtor Pro.
I think it's a Mixtor Pro 2. Now it does work with your phone. Now I don't know if you can record algorithm to your phone though, like you record a mix to your phone. I don't know.
You may not necessarily record, but you can get your practice on.
Yeah. Like I said, there's other pieces of gear out there Hercules has a piece of gear. Newmark has a piece of gear that's very miniature, very portable. That's a third of the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like
this is like my first foray into portable gear. Like that's not something I've ever been really into. But you push it hard. Like you're all about.
So I'm all about like
making your life easier.
Well, that and what do I want to say? Like not circumstantial, but like different things for different things, right? Like so I like to have different gear for different types of situational things.
Different tools for different jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, different tools for different jobs. Yeah, there are different things for different situations that I need. I don't want to bring, a jackhammer when all I need is a shovel or
a sledgehammer
or a sledgehammer, right? Sure. If all I need is a regular ball peen hammer, I don't need a sledgehammer.
Right.
So like. I like having different stuff. Like a lot of times people may see me with this or that, but I also have a lot of other things that you just don't see just because when you may see me.
You do so many different types of gigs.
Yeah, I do different types of things. So it's like I don't need to bring turntables to the mall. Right. Or situations like that.
Or that there's a small DJ booth that turntables are not going to fit in.
They're not going to fit in, right? Like, and that's what happens with the mall. Like Nordstrom, like Nordstrom has their own booth. Like, which is really cool. They actually have their own DJ booth, but it's tiny. So trying to put 2 turntables in there just ain't gonna work. Or situations where like you might be set up in a crazy situation where it's not a booth, you're just on a table, and people just walk up to you. So I'm like, So yeah, I just have.
So is it a maybe or is it a hard no?
For what? The mix tour?
Yeah,
hard no right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the other thing is, when I use it, and then it gets outdated, and I need to sell it, I ain't gonna get my money back. Not even a little bit. Like if you sold that OP1 right now, you get your money back.
So I would probably get 100% of what I paid because I got a little discount on it.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, you get your money back. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'd get 100% because
even if you got like 80% of your money back, you'd get that. Even if that was the case, right?
Yeah.
With this Mix Tour Pro, I think that you'll get, 10% of your money back.
Yeah, the version before on this OP1, the version before was out for 10 years. And used ones are still going, like, I think they were $1,200. Used ones are still going for like $800-900.
Yeah, they're like a Technics $1,200.
Maybe, they're like a Technics $1,200. It's just, it's build quality. It's quality engineering. I was talking to my girlfriend about that the other day. I think like maybe it's the older I get, but I feel like maybe I've been like that a while, where that's what I'm into. I'm into well-engineered things. Whether it be a mixer, a car, whatever. When I look at it, I just kind of want something that I feel like is built to last.
Speaking of that, like to tie that to DJing, that's why I don't like Pioneer equipment. I don't, because in like the Rain mixer versus a Pioneer mixer, let's just say like the S9 or S11 or S7 versus like the Rain 70 or Rain 72, the Rain mixers are just built like tanks.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
tanks.
What they've got. Yeah, that's what they got going for them. Or it would be nothing but Pioneer if it wasn't for the probably better engineered. I remember 20 years ago or whatever it was. There was a DJ shop down on Del Mar. I can't think of the name of it, but they had techs in there and they had some mixers and stuff like that. And they had a Rain mixer, whatever it was,
54, 56 or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't the new like the 57 with the video capability and stuff like that.
Right.
It was one of the old ones, 2-channel. But I had always been a Vestax guy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can I see that Rain mixer? And they brought it down for me, and I felt how buttery those faders were and how nice those the actual fader itself felt. And I just realized in that moment, I'm like, I don't know why I've been such a fan of Vestax when this is clearly...
Vestax definitely had... I mean, Vestax had some good gear. The problem that Vestax had is Vestax didn't cross over into, like, the club outputs. Like, if you remember, Vestex outputs, like, you might have had quarter inch, but a lot of them were RCA out. So if you took a 05 or a 05 or 07, or maybe the 07s had like quarter inch outs, but the 05s I think only had RCAs. If you took that to like a club, I mean, yeah, you can hook it up, but you can't hook it up. One thing that Rane did, they were like, we're putting XLRs in the back of this.
Yeah, like Pioneer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to make this like the battle/club mixer. And that's where, and there's probably way more things that went on with Vestex to their demise or whatever. But that was the issues with
they 05s. They really doubled down on. And this is just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like, and again, maybe this is just my perspective because of how I came up DJing. But they were all about the battle mixers.
Yeah.
2-channel battle mixers.
Yeah. I mean, 05 was like the mix. Like, I had an 05 and I had a 06 with a skinny one. Yeah.
But Pioneer was more like club mixers. Where they had the better sound card. Yeah. Even though the faders weren't as nice and stuff like that, you had a mixer that was more for like mixing. It had more effects and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of interesting to kind of see and how history,
707, all that,
how history played out. Yeah.
Yeah, but Rane, man, like I remember Daryl had a 54, and he was like, man, it's one of the best mixers you've never heard of. And I was like, man, let me check it out. And it was butter.
Yeah,
and
I
then
remember
the 56 came out. I was like, whoa.
I remember going over to Charlie's house, and around that same time, and talking about, man, dude, you know anything about Rane mixers? I saw this mixer up at the gear shop on Delmar, and he's like, oh yeah, I got one of those. I'm like, what are you talking about? Back in the closet, man, go grab it.
Oh yeah,
he had one.
He's got everything in that
closet. Dude, Charlie is crazy. He's like a gear hoarder.
Yeah,
DVDs, records, and DJ gear. Like,
how deep is that closet, dog? I've never even seen that door open.
It's not. It's the record closet.
I guess I just seen the door. Like, I've never been in it.
Oh,
the closet.
Yeah,
but I know there's like tons of gear in there because he's always like, oh yeah, it's in the closet.
I don't know how he gets in there, if he even gets in there anymore, because I could barely turn around in that thing.
Because he's got like Stanton turntables in there, other techs in there, like from what I've heard.
Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to
yeah.
put all his business out in the streets, but yeah, man. There was something else I wanted to kind of bring up. Actually, there's a couple different things, but you recently passed a test.
Oh yeah,
for a marketing certificate.
I did, yeah. The Digital Marketing Institute and the American Marketing Association. So yeah.
Well, what they didn't tell you is that there's still one more phase to your certification.
What that is?
You have to tell me what I can do to build my own personal brand.
It depends on how you want to sell it.
Let's get into it. Where would I start? Where would I start?
Obviously, here's the thing. So you start with social media, 1,000% because it's free, right? So you always get the low hanging fruit.
Okay.
Right. Start with social media.
How do I find my personal brand though? Like that's where I'm gonna display it. But
what do you mean as far as like what you want your brand to be?
Yeah,
that's definitely gonna be up to you. So like, I can't tell you what your brand is. All you can do is tell you like, once you know what it is, like where to push it and how to push it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like.
Okay, so your expertise is more on like once all that's figured out, you know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Right, because that's something I've been thinking about a little bit lately, and sorry to put you on the spot like that. We didn't even talk about that beforehand, but
it's a good question though.
But I feel like I'm finally starting to figure out, like as a DJ, who I am, what my brand is. I'm kind of cultivating it. I've been influenced by these DJs over here, but I'm also putting my own little twist on it, and getting things to look how they want to look and sound how I want them to sound. It's like my personal style, my just all of that. I'm starting to slowly dial that in and figure that out. And I guess my point is if you're not aware of that, it's probably something you should address at some point, because otherwise you're just kind of, you're out there and you don't really have any direction as far as like, does this fit in with what I do? And so Apple would be a good example. Like, Apple has a great brand because you know that their devices are going to work really well. They're going to be well engineered, but also, the pros and the cons, it's all, Apple's going to be Apple, and that, say, like, Toyota's going to be Toyota, Gucci's going to be Gucci. So, and sometimes it's hard to describe what makes it, but I can see something across the room and go, okay, yeah, that's Gucci, or I can see something, and so I think I'm at a place right now where I'm starting to kind of dial that in. I think some of it will happen naturally over time, but I think you have to at least start being cognizant of do I have a personal brand? What do I want my personal brand to be? Because I think these days, I think there's a personal element where it's like, hey, I know Alex, so I'm going to go out and support Alex. But if they recognize you as a brand, they want to be part of a brand, affiliated. They're going to be like, oh, there's A-Flex. I want to go take a picture with him. I want to go to his events because I know what to expect because I've built my brand out.
I think that, like, and here's the thing. People have heard this over and over. It's getting to be cliche to hear it, but, like, understanding or deciding what your niche is going to be. Right, like, what do you want to be involved with? If we talk about, like, DJing, right, like, or do you want to be a hip hop DJ, rap DJ? Do you want to be a EDM DJ? Do you want to be an underground house DJ? And I think that, like, with social media, there's avenues for everything, and you decide, like, what you really want to do, and then go that direction full force. Because that's where you're going to build your audience with inside that niche and build your following. I think that a lot of DJs like you and I, we fell in the open format trap. And I think we got good at it. And I think we're, rap, hip-hop DJs foundationally. But, things just guided us one way or another, where we were able to just do, like, multiple things. And it may be a problem that the fact that we do multiple things, or we did multiple things, because we didn't say, I'm only going to be a rap DJ and I'm going to go on tour with so-and-so, or I'm going to make beats, or I'm going to be involved in just this avenue. Because maybe, like, before, you might have thought about, like, well, I don't want to do that because then it cuts myself short from being able to do this and do that. But some people are able to, like, really take off with that. Where they're, maybe it's being an EDM style DJ, where now they're doing festivals, or they're, making, their own music or whatever, because they said, I'm not going to do rap and hip hop, or other DJs like, I'm not going to do EDM. I'm only going to do this. Now, I mean, that being said, I think that it still is a lane for open format DJs, but, like, it just depends on, like, where you want to go and, like, what niche you want to be in. But I think
let me jump in here for a second. So I hear what you're saying, but I think I didn't do a great job of making my point. So I just want to give you an example, right? So locally, a couple of guys locally that I think do a great job of branding themselves with their personal brand, and that is DJ Moth. Right. So if you look at him, he's a hip hop DJ, but there's, like, I think there's a funk slant to what he does. He's going to play the hip hop joints, but, there's a lot of those tracks are going to have horns in them. And he's also going to mix in, say Parliament or something like that. You kind of expect that, like, that's his sound. But if you look at his flyers, there's a lot of artwork by his brother, who's a comic book illustrator and kind of a street artist. So, like, his flyers have a certain look. His font has a certain look. Even his style, the way that he presents himself. He owns a record label too, or co-owns a record label. So I think he understands the importance of branding. Needles is another great example. His brand is, of course, it's a lot of underground hip hop or old school hip hop, but also he's very I don't know what the correct terminology is, but he's very like, I don't know, pro-black. But
yeah,
very,
but I think that with both of those guys, they've injected themselves into a certain niche. Whether it's like we talk about Moff and his funk, he has a party called Motown on Mondays, and he does a lot of events that are around that type of sound. He just portrays himself as that. He doesn't portray himself as an EDM DJ. You're not really gonna find him, supporting an EDM show, probably.
Do you understand what I'm saying about, like, not just the style of music that he's playing?
Yeah, but that goes along, right? That goes along with like you said, your flyers and like how you dress and how you talk and how you act and who you interact with, right? So like his niche, he's decided what his niche is, and that inside that niche, there's a certain fan base, right? And he's involved in that fan base, that community, whatever you want to call it. He's involved in that, and he could be a centerpiece of it because he's a DJ. So there's a lot of people that are in those niches, whether it's funk, underground hip hop, whatever it is, backpack hip hop, whatever it is. There's people that are involved in that. It just depends on what you want to do. So that's what you want to be involved with. That's who you want to be around. You can take those people and make them your people by being involved in what they're involved in. It's just like potheads, right? Like people that smoke a lot of weed. That's a niche. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a whole community of people that's what they do. They smoke weed. They talk about smoking weed, talk about buying weed, talk about different types of weed.
So imagine you're the DJ that's like, you're playing Looney's Got Five on It and Wiz Khalifa, and you got a gold chain that's made out of a pot leaf, and you're blowing blunts on stage, and that becomes kind of part of your niche, as you call it.
But because Bonix will be like, yo, what kind of weed you got?
so that's part of his brand. But
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, do you think about that? And I don't know if that's even part of marketing, is exploring that, because
you need to know that. Yeah, 100%.
Well, where do you begin exploring that? Like, do you look at your personal interests, like, say,
I think so,
outside of DJing? Like, I'm into skateboarding, I'm into music production.
Well, it depends on what you're selling too, right? Like, if you're a brand and you have a product, first of all, what's your product? Okay. And then, okay, what community or what audience or whatever does this product serve, right? And then you can kind of break it down from there, right? Like, so I don't know, like, you could pick anything.
So you're a personal trainer, right? Mm-hmm. So you're like Sporty Spice, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So I wonder if, like, incorporating, you already do the F45 stuff.
Yeah, like I DJ for, F45. I coach for F45. I'm a part of the fitness community as a DJ,
So I kind of think that is kind of your brand. Like, you come out, you wear a lot of, like, athleisure outfits, athletic clothing. You support sports teams.
Yeah.
If there is a sporting event, you are one of the people, like, they're like, hey, we need a DJ for this basketball game. You are somebody, I'm like, well, he's gonna know what's going on in a basketball game or a football game or whatever.
Right,
he's gonna know how this is gonna operate. So but is that a conscious thing, or is it just naturally?
I mean, who I am, that's a part of who I am. Like, I was an athlete for a long time.
Can you build that out? Can you build that up into more and make that more of a thing where, like, your logos look like sports logos?
I could. If that's what I wanted to do, for sure. And that could, there's people out there that they're known for DJing for sports teams, and that's their thing. And they go from, like, one sports team to another. I haven't done that personally, but I've DJ'd more so for gyms than for sports teams.
Do you feel like that would benefit you to be able to clearly define that, and that way you can you know, have some direction when you're doing things, when you're doing mixes or making logos and flyers and things like that, that you can use those elements, incorporate those elements into all of that to continue to build some brand. I don't know if it's brand awareness.
I think injecting yourself as DJs is interesting because, you know, the DJ is a product. I think injecting yourself in these communities more is more beneficial than creating, like, you know, if I like made my logo similar to F45's logo. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I wasn't a part of F45 or I wasn't around it. I don't know how much that would do for me. Now, being, you know, a DJ, it's a little bit more, like, I think more hands-on, right? Because we're a product and we're selling our product. Now, you know, as far as like making mixes, like if you're somebody that wants to make mixes for, like, say, and you want to be involved in the gym, like, you need to make higher energy mixes. Like, I don't think you're gonna sell your R&B mix to a gym owner and be like, hey, can I come DJ your gym? Here's my demo mix, and it's R&B because it's low tempo. You know what I'm saying? But if you got this high energy mix that's pumping, hell, let me, you know, can I come DJ your gym? Here's my mix, and it's high energy. That's gonna sell you to the gym owner to be like, oh man, this guy's got, you know, a good mix, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So
another way to flip this is, like, I think there's some beautiful female DJs out there that's kind of their personal brand is like, I'm sexy. I'm going to be up here and dance and look cute and, you know, pose for, like, they're kind of like a model.
On what your product is, right? Like,
what I'm saying, you know, what I'm getting to is, I feel like the DJs that do have that, whether it's their brand is sexy or if their brand is, you know, I play, you know, a funky style, or I'm gonna play, you know, I don't know. It's not the pro black thing. I know that's not I'm not using the right terms, but like the heads, you know, and the guys that, you know, the backpack dudes that have the, you know, army caps pulled down low and they're listening to Dead Prez and whatever. Like, that's a whole thing of, you know, that you can invest in. I'm using Needles as an example because he's just somebody that jumps out to me. But I see those guys having some success because I think that venues and promoters are thinking about, well, I've got this event, right? So say I'm doing a pool party. Well, I want some, you know, either a dude that is, you know, a handsome fella that's tan and chiseled, or I want a girl that's going to show up and wear a bikini top poolside. So, like, or if it's, you know, for example, a skateboard competition. All right. Well, we know A-Flex has been DJing, or skateboarding his whole life. So, you know, let's have a guy that's in the scene and whatever come out and, you know, be a part of this event. And so I think for me right now, I have the, you know, I guess the what is it? I got the time. I got the time and energy to be able to spend to figure out what mine is. Like, I feel like I'm halfway there. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, do I lean more into the skateboard thing? Do I lean into?
I think you could. I think that again, it goes back to like, what's your product, right? Like, you made some gave some examples about like a couple of different people, like somebody like Lexi Rose. I think her product is her body. You know, with some of these female DJs that DJ.
Yeah. With respect, she's a good DJ.
Yeah, she could be. I've never seen her DJ. No disrespect, but I've never seen her DJ. So, but like, you know, she's getting booked. But I think, you know, and let's not even say her. Let's just say like female DJs that may DJ, you know, in bikini tops, you know, half naked or whatever, like you said, for a pool party. Like, the product is her body or his body. Okay. Somebody else, their product may be the type of music that they play. Yeah. So, like, you have to understand, like, again, it goes back to, like, what is your product as a DJ? Is my product as a DJ the music I play, my person, who I am? Because this can go different ways. That's why you get the celebrity DJs. Their product isn't the fact that they are a good DJ. Their product is the fact that they are on a TV show like Pauly D or James Kennedy or whatever, right? But then you have other DJs, like their product is what they do as a DJ. It's not, because they got chiseled abs or because they're, on a TV show.
It very well, you're right. I 100% agree with you. It very well can be just you were such a great DJ that it works for you. Mm-hmm. But take for Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, those guys, their brand is that they're kind of loud and obnoxious and funny and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's an element too. Like part of your brand could be that you're the
but you got to build that after you win. You can't be Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor with a losing record and be who they are.
No, that's I'm not trying
that's
to.
That's kind of like an after the fact thing.
Right. Yeah. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just saying that it can be how you look, it can be what your skill is, it can be what your interests are, it can be your attitude and your disposition. Can be, A-Flex is just the nicest dude in the world. We love working with him. He's a good DJ, but we know that he's like just the friendliest fella ever. And I'm not saying that about myself.
Yeah,
that
could be your product, right? Like especially like in the event world, right? This person is easy to work with.
Right. It doesn't have to be he's an asshole. It can be he's reliable. I think
he's reliable.
If I had to say, just kind of brag about myself a little bit, I think that's one of the things that's really given me longevity in this career is I'm Mr. Reliable. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to show up and whether or not I'm going to, execute. I mean, I have my off days just like anybody else, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to give it my best. So,
definitely depends on what your product is, depending on what you're trying to, because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people don't want to be salespeople, but that's what you are, right? Like even in marketing, all the marketing team for a brand is doing is trying to help you sell your brand, right? They're just giving you materials to help you sell whatever the product is that you have. So like, for example, if you were wanting to be the skateboard DJ guy, you know what I mean? Like me as a marketing person, I'm trying to help you come up with ways to get the skateboard community's attention. Or like say maybe you have like, so let's go like percentages, right? Like you have 15% of the attention of the skateboard community. I'm trying to get you to like 30% and help you like, all right, let's get you a gig at a skate park and then let's get some footage of you there. Let's start tagging you with, whoever. Let's get you, you're going to wear the whatever skate fashion stuff is, Hurley or whatever it is at the time, Airwalk, Vans. We're going to get you involved with that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to, whatever it is. We're going to get you a laptop back, the thing with the Vans on it. We just want to inject you into that community as much as possible.
I had a little bit of a misconception about what marketing is, right? I thought that you also helped with like, hey, let's help you define what your brand is. That way but you're saying that marketing is more once that's already established, I'm going to help you take it to the next level and get the word out.
Yeah, because like I can't tell, the marketing people can't tell you what your brand is. I mean,
who might be able, whose job is that?
I think that they can, I feel like they can assist, right? And there might be some marketing people out there that'd be like, oh, I tell people what their brand is all the time. But I think in the real world, I think that if a person has a product, understanding what your product is and who you're trying to sell your product to is extremely important to help your marketing team, because then the marketing team will be like, okay, this is a product, this is who we're trying to sell it to. All right, let's help you get you materials and get you things in the digital world, find out what the hashtags are, find out what communities they are online, get you involved with that, like help you do that. I can't look at you and say, all right, this is your brand. Like I think that people misconstrue like what's really going on, in my opinion, because like people are like, oh, I know how to brand people. Like, do you really? Like, how are you going to tell somebody what their product is?
No, I don't think the expectation is that you tell somebody what their brand is, but I think there's probably like some sort of questionnaire where it's like, okay, look, hey, but before we move on to the marketing phase, let's make sure that we really understand what your brand is and what, and get that very clearly defined. I think about Matt in the shop, like, you came into the situation, like, it seemed like he already had a brand. He had logos, he had artwork, that the place was already designed out. But if there's a DJ, let's say they're a good DJ, they got a lot of music and they're starting to do some gigs, but they're just kind of, their brand is kind of vanilla. I'm just a DJ. And you said, okay, hold on a second. Let's work together and try to build out what your brand is. That way we can get you to the next level. I think there's somewhere between not having any brand at all or just being ignorant that you even need to build a brand. And the marketing, there's a phase, there's a job, whether you do it on your own or somebody helps or the marketing person helps. I don't know what that department is.
So if you, because that'd be like a branding department. Like if you,
is that a thing?
If you have a company or a situation and you went to a marketing agency, they're going to ask you those questions, right? They're going to be like, okay, what's your brand? What are you trying to sell? What is it, right? You can't just be like, yeah, my name's A-Flex and I'm a DJ. Okay, well, what kind of DJ are you? That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
Where do you want to DJ? What do you want to be involved with?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and then you'd be like, yeah, man, I skateboard on the side. I'm really into just the skate scene.
Yeah.
So, okay,
I'm
cool.
out in California all the time.
I'm out in California. I'm into that. All right. Well, you're kind of telling me there, like, okay, that's what you want to be involved with. And with me knowing, like for me, like knowing, okay, well, you could DJ at a skate park, you could DJ at skate events or whatever. They got this thing called X Games. You can be a part of that. Understanding those types of things, but like to say that if you were to call a marketing agency today, any agency is like, hey, I'm a company. And I kind of don't have a product, but I need to know what my product is so I can brand it. I don't think they're going to have anything for you.
But that's silly. Like,
how's that silly?
Well, because I think you're taking an element out of this equation that already exists. You're saying that I don't have a product. I already have the product. The product is that I DJ. I'm a quality DJ. I'm reliable. I'm this and that.
What about DJing is your product? Is your product about your DJing is I
That's the product, right? Just like, okay, so with Apple, the product is the laptop. But the brand is, when you walk into that store, you recognize that it's an Apple store. You recognize this, even if there wasn't an Apple logo on that laptop, when you get handed that laptop, even if they scraped it of any branding, you would go, I know that this is Apple.
Yeah, but their brand is consumer electronics, okay? And it's simplicity. Like,
oh yeah, simple, sleek, sexy, high quality, well engineered. Yeah. It's very, it's almost kind of like futuristic.
You started out with, but you have to start out with, all right, I'm a computer company. Who do I want to sell these computers to? Right, like.
Right. So you think okay. So they're like, okay, we want to sell computers. It's almost like a designer computer. We're going to charge you a little bit more, but it's going to be a little bit higher quality. We're going to use aluminum
but you're
bodies
missing what
instead
I'm saying. You're missing what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
You have to figure out who you want to sell to.
Right. I'm just getting at that
first, and then that again. That's step number one. Like,
so they want to sell to the higher end customers. They're not selling $400 Asus laptops in Walmart. They're selling $2,500, $3,000 laptops to the people that can afford them. Basically, they're like the Mercedes of laptops. So the same people that would buy a Mercedes car buying Mercedes laptops.
The marketing department didn't decide that, though.
Okay, yeah, but there was a vision. Steve Jobs had a vision.
Yes, but the marketing department didn't decide that.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to say.
And
like,
that's great. Like we've already established that there is something that exists between, the product which exists, which is laptops, and how it's going to be marketed, which is building that brand out, having a vision of, okay, this is how we want to define our brand, so who to market it to.
Yeah, no. So I will say this: maybe the marketing team will be involved, but at the end of the day, it's up to the ownership to decide. Okay, what is my product? Who I want to sell it to, and what niche do I want to be involved in, right? Because without that, the marketing team doesn't really have anything to go off of.
Right. Okay, I had a misconception that I thought that they would kind of walk you through the steps like a questionnaire of like, okay, let's help you to find out how we can help market you. So let's if you don't know exactly what your brand is, you know what your product is, but you're not necessarily sure how to brand it. And,
the marketing team can do that.
Right.
But what they won't do is answer the questions on the questionnaire. Yeah, they can definitely give you a questionnaire. Like I said, like, okay, what is your product? Who do you want to sell it to? Things like that. And really that's what it comes down to is what is your product, who you want to sell it to.
So let's apply this though, because like there's DJs that are listening to this that are that are probably thinking to themselves, they're like, okay, so it's on me. I need to define this. I need to use my imagination or whatever. Like you're basically saying, hey, you're on your own. You need to come up with your own ideas as far as like what how you want to brand yourself and what that is. And I'm totally cool with that. I just in the beginning, I had a misconception about marketing, was thinking, hey, maybe that's something that you can help me with, because I feel like I'm halfway there. I'm halfway to figuring out what my brand is. But, is there somebody,
So marketing is just advertising. That's all it is. Help you advertise what you already have. Right? Like the marketing department for Coca-Cola helps Coca-Cola advertise Coca-Cola. Like they didn't decide what Coca-Cola was going to be. They didn't decide, who Coca-Cola was going to be sold to. They just say, okay, like Coca-Cola could be water, right? They didn't decide it was going to be soda. That's not what the marketing department does. Like Coca-Cola itself, the ownership decided, hey, we want to sell soda. Okay. Who do we want to sell it to? Do we want it to be a high-end soda or do we want it to be a cheap soda? We want it to be whatever, right? Say they want it to be a high-end soda. They decide that. Now, a marketing department could ask those questions if you don't know. But then, again, ultimately, you got to figure it out. Like, you as a DJ, right? Like, who do you want to be? All right, I want to be, like, let's use the skater example, right? I want to DJ, like, if you go to a marketing department and say, hey, I want to DJ more skate events. Now the marketing department has something to work with. Cool. All right, let me find out how to get DJ A-Flex involved in that community, right? So then the research goes into, okay, where does this community where does it live, like online, especially now with digital marketing, like where does it live online, what's involved with it, who's in it, who are the influencers involved, what are the other brands that are involved, how can I get basically how can I advertise you to those brands so they pick you up and basically buy you, right? Like Vans, for example, right? How do I get A-Flex in front of Vans? Because A-Flex is a DJ that wants to be a part of the skate world. Vans is a very large brand and product with shoes and clothes. How do we get him involved with that? Because getting you involved with Vans is going to be a big sponsor for probably, this is all hypothetical because I don't know what brand Vans is actually doing, but they could be sponsoring skate events across the country, across the world, whatever. But there's a million ways to skin a cat, right? But that's what like somebody like I would do. Like, as far as like, Matt's Tattoo Shop. I don't decide what the tattoo shop is, how it operates, who they want to get in the door. Matt tells me that, and then I try to get the brand in front of those people. Right. That's what marketing is.
Well, okay. So beautiful. I love that answer. What I guess let's talk about you for a second, if that's okay. So what is your brand that you are currently marketing?
For me, specifically?
Yeah.
I mean, for me right now, I don't think I really have one that I'm trying to market because I'm trying to work with, helping sell, mass tattoo shop.
No. As far as DJing.
As far as DJing, that's a good question because I don't know. That's not really like my focus at the moment because I have other things going on that involve other people's businesses. But for me, like if we talk about what my brand was, I don't know if it still is. It was, battle DJing, the aggressive, just almost like a headhunter. Like, I'm coming in to kill.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what my brand was. It was high energy. It was aggressive. That's what my brand was.
So if you're saying that you currently don't necessarily have one well defined, like how beneficial is it to have one? Like should that be something that you're?
If that was like my focus, like if it was 2012 when that was my pure focus, then yeah, because that's what I did. Like I decided I'm gonna go out, and it's funny because how this happened was I lost. I don't know. I wouldn't say a bunch of DJ battles, but I lost a few DJ battles, and I was like, I'm about to go win all the DJ battles, and that's what I went and did. You know what I mean? In my area, and that created me as who I was, and then people,
right?
That's the battle DJ guy.
So that kind of came about almost naturally. It came from.
But I injected myself into that, right? Like I injected myself into the battle world because I liked that, like a part of DJing. It wasn't, I could have easily injected myself into the house DJ world, right? And be like, man, I want to be involved in like raves and
wearing button-up shirts, and glow sticks.
I want to go DJ at Velvet. Like I didn't. That wasn't my thing. My thing was the aggressive style of battle DJing, and I wanted to be a part of that. So that's where I injected myself.
I wonder though, like I'm just kind of curious because you're still very much an active DJ, but it seemed like you tell me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like you dismissed the importance of your own personal brand currently.
Well, right now for me, yeah, I'm pretty active, but like that's not like my sole focus. You know what I mean? Like we've had this conversation kind of offline where it's like, I'll always be a DJ at heart. But I'm 43, in St. Louis. It's not like we're in New York or LA or Miami or something like that. Like, what's the real lifespan on me DJing, and especially with a kid. I'm a single dad, so it's like, do I put all my focus into that, or do I put all my focus into something else? Where I'll still have DJing, but that's just not what I'm really chasing. Is to, I'm not out here battling, you know what I mean? Which, I could be. DMC still happening. I could go sign up for a DMC and go try to win it and practice for that. But like,
would that really take all that much time and focus though to define
that? I think so. Yeah, I mean, to define that or to go out and do that.
I'm saying like to define it. Like I feel like in a few minutes you could sit there and brainstorm and come up with a couple questions. And come up with your brand, or at least define your brand, and then tweak it as you go. Like, I don't think it's that much.
Well, I think branding is more than just saying this is what you are. It's about doing it too, right? Like,
but isn't that more the marketing part?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's the marketing. Defining it is branding it, and then marketing is the doing.
The doing, yeah. Because so like, if you say, hey, I'm gonna be a battle DJ. If you say, hey, I'm a battle DJ, but you don't battle, then what's really happening?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're not injecting yourself into that community, into that niche.
But another great example is going to be. I'm sorry for cutting you off there, but another great example is Chris Brown. Mm-hmm. So how like Chris Brown has his like alter ego, which is Chris Handsome, and he wears button ups and he wears like very, like he's fashionable. He's the guy that you would want to have DJ your fashion show, or if you have an upscale event or something like that. That was kind of his.
But I think that comes from him injecting himself into the wedding DJ world.
But this is prior to him being, the wedding guy.
I don't think so.
The Chris Hansen thing was before the wedding, right?
No. I think that came about with the wedding stuff because of when you DJ a wedding, you got to get dressed up.
Sure.
Right? Wear a suit or a nice shirt. And I think that's where that came from. Knowing Chris as long as I've known him, before that, I mean, he's t-shirt and jeans. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't dressing up like that.
But anyways, you're probably right. I don't know, Chris, you tell us, but it seemed like he went through a rebrand.
Yeah, but I think that has everything to do with him and Micro injecting themselves into the wedding DJ business. They started a business called Spin Society DJs, and that is the bulk of what they're doing. And when you DJ a wedding, you dress up, wear a suit, whatever. You get your little flower pin, and you got a haircut, nice shoes.
So it will benefit you if you define it. You got to think about where you want to be.
Yeah, like getting your headshots.
What brand is going to get you there?
Yeah, so I think that again, they decided, all right, our brand is boutique weddings, right? And so that's what they started to push for and get themselves involved with, is doing those weddings.
More the high-end weddings.
They're not doing a $300 wedding.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're not doing that. So that's what they got themselves involved with, and that's the niche. Again, they injected themselves into that situation. So then you get Chris Hansen, right? Because Chris found himself having to dress up a lot. You know what I mean? And granted, Chris may have a whole different story about where that came from, but this is my, knowing Chris, yeah. I really believe this is how this came about. And he probably defined it more, but I think that's where it came from is that. But again, they got together, started a company. All right, what is our brand going to be? This is our brand. Okay, we know what our brand is. Now we need to inject our brand into that community and go from there.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they were all right, we're going to, start a DJ company, but we don't even know what we want to do. Do we want to DJ, do we want to DJ kids' birthday parties, or do we want to DJ boutique weddings? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is some people just want to gobble up all the gigs that they can. They'll do bar mitzvahs, they'll do weddings, they'll do nightclubs, they'll do roller skating rinks. They just are I want to work as much as I can. Mm-hmm. But I'm not that DJ. I'm not taking the gigs at Nordstrom right now. I'm not doing stuff like that. And I'm I think that having a more clearly defining what my brand is, I think will help me, because I'm only doing so many gigs a week or so many gigs a month, and I want it to kind of be, I feel like if I have that brand, people are going to go, okay, hey, for X, we're going to go, this is the guy that we go see for X,
Yeah, I think, again, you decide what you want to do. So for example, what do I want to DJ for?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where do I want to DJ? Do I want to DJ R&B parties? Do I want to DJ, funk parties? Do I want to DJ backpack rap parties, house?
So
whatever.
I'm already doing R&B parties. So that's something that I can really lean into. Yeah. But I think my confusion is what I am kind of on a personal level versus what, it's here's this guy, he skateboards. I listen to all different kinds of music, but what I am over in my personal life versus I do these R&B parties that are pretty successful. It's okay, well, how do I lean into that while still kind of being true to who I am? And it's not necessarily,
I think you do both,
adopting an image or a brand that's not true to myself. And I'm trying to figure out how to meld those or blend those together into something that feels good.
I think that, just to retract on what I was saying about being an open format DJ, I think that being an open format DJ allows you to inject yourself into multiple different situations. Okay, like your example with computers with Apple, right? Apple sells to consumers, But what the consumer does with the computer is up to the consumer. So you might have somebody that's an audio producer. You might have somebody that's a video producer. You might have a graphic designer, right? But that product can serve all of those things. So your product as a DJ, you could serve R&B parties, but you could also serve skate parties. But I think what you need to do is it's just double the work, right? Somebody that has like a well-defined niche, and that's what they really stick with. Like if we talk about maybe like Needles or somebody like that, or you know, somebody in that realm where they like, I'm only gonna DJ this type of thing. This is all I want to do. That's great because they can capitalize 100% on that situation. Mm-hmm. But then there's other situations they could get involved with, but they kind of can't because they're just not involved. It
conflicts with their brand.
Well, it doesn't necessarily. Their brand is so tied up into that, and they don't want to step out. Like for you, you got an R&B party that's successful, but you're in the skate world. You can still do your R&B party and keep yourself injected over there, but then also inject yourself into the skate world. And you don't necessarily have to make like, you know, a logo out of a skateboard or anything like that.
Right.
You just need to market yourself to those people that are in that world over here.
Yeah.
So it's just double the work.
It doesn't feel like, say I show up with like a fedora and a silk button-up shirt with like the top 4 buttons unbuttoned. Like that's just not you. That's not me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I wouldn't do anything that's like out, like you said, I wouldn't do anything that's outside. Because for you, it's not like you don't like R&B. You like R&B music.
I love R&B music.
And you like skating. so it's like same thing for me. Like, you know, like I like the fitness world, but then I also like, you know, some other things that are involved in like they could be DJ'd for. So, but I inject myself here, inject myself there. Again, like, you know, say you know you're a DJ. All right, man. I really like this R&B stuff, and I really like this skate stuff. Again, the marketing department has something to work with now. Okay, cool. Yeah. I need to, you know, allocate 50% of our resources to over here, and the 50% over here, so we make sure that we get A-Flex involved in both worlds.
Yeah, and I think that's dope. Like, you can be kind of a club DJ and also do these other like odd events over here, and it's just it's just an interesting idea to explore. I did watch a YouTube video that kind of gave me. And I didn't even get around. I didn't finish the whole thing. It was really long, but it was kind of about this, and you need to define this. And there were some questions that he asked and stuff like that, and you know, there were some good takeaways from it, and it made me go, you know, I bet Q knows about this. I bet that he could, you know, this would be a good conversation for us to have. Which this has been a great conversation, but I just was kind of confused about what it is exactly, where that line is drawn from building the brand and then marketing the brand.
I think it's two different things, right? Like it's you know, and again, there's, you know, what's the phrase, a million ways to skin a cat or whatever.
Right. And I'm sorry, I know we're kind of going back in a circle, and I don't want to like.
But to go what you're saying, like, I mean, but I think that if you have a brand established, it's easier to market it.
Okay, well, but my question though is, is there a resource somewhere? I guess you could look up YouTube videos or whatever, but it's like, what are the steps to figuring out your brand? It's like, if you don't know where to start, like, I want people to walk away from this. If you don't know where to
start, like, I mean, I think you've got to.
I want people in this podcast to be able to walk away with something and go, you know what, I sat there and listened to that for an hour, and they said a bunch of interesting things, but I'm no closer to actually defining what my brand is.
Yeah.
It's like, what are the questions that should be asked? What does the process look like? And what I'm going to say right now, if anybody's listening going, okay, well, what's the solution? You know, I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm going to recommend going to YouTube. I'm going to go to YouTube and go, okay, how do I clearly define what my brand is? Where, you know, what are the questions I shouldn't be? No?
I won't say that.
Okay.
What I will say is...
Or read a book?
No. What I'll say is, what are you interested in? Okay, so like the thing about DJing versus like a physical product, right? Like say this mixer. Okay, like DJing, like you have the ability to be a little bit more, or not a little bit, like a lot more abstract with what you want it to be, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that you need to, if you're a DJ and you're trying to figure out what your brand is, mm-hmm. or what you want your brand to be, I think that you need to figure out what it is you like to be involved with and figure out how to inject your DJing with that. Okay, like me, for example, you brought this up, like I'm involved in the fitness world. How do I involve me as a DJ in the fitness world? Because I like fitness. Mm-hmm. I'm a DJ. Okay. Your example, skate world. I like skating. I'm a DJ. How do I get my DJing involved in that? How do I get my DJing involved in whatever it kind of is that I like? Now, granted, there are some situations where DJs are just not going to be involved. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing is, okay, what do I like? What do I enjoy being around and doing that I can put in conjunction with me DJing? Like, I like hanging out at the pool. Oh, okay. I like tanning. Okay, I needed to go DJ at the pool. Or whatever. Like, we're just using hypotheticals here, but I think that you really need to look at, like, what you enjoy doing and how you can inject you as a DJ into those things. And I think that that's what's going to make your brand, because then you're a part of your community that you enjoy doing this other thing that you enjoy too, right? It's the best of both worlds.
It's going to be natural.
Right, it's going to be natural. I don't think that like trying to inject yourself into, like you said, a world that you like, if you don't like house music and you don't like raves and you don't like whatever, like, man, I really should be a house DJ because it's like, making the decision, I want to be a house DJ because they make a lot of money. It's like, nah, you're not going to be good at it because you don't like it.
Right. It's not authentic.
Like Steve Jobs was a computer nerd. So he sold computers, right? Like, he loved that shit. So, yeah, that's what he injected himself into and sold computers.
Well, and I think also one of the things that makes a good brand is its uniqueness or being original. And so where we were talking about me and the skateboard thing, when you think about skateboarding as a brand, you probably think of like hardcore hip hop and maybe even like punk rock music. Mm-hmm. But I do these R&B parties over here, or I play, whatever, let's say it's pop music or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And those two things don't necessarily gel. So you might go, well, I don't want to blend those things together because they typically or traditionally don't go together. However, it might be a good thing to blend together because then it's original. Then it's unique to you.
Well, but does that fit though, like the mold of the community?
Well, and that's the thing. It may not necessarily fit the mold of the community that exists as it exists today. However, you bring something different to the table.
Experiment.
You have this experimental brand or this experimental sound where you're bringing different influences together, and then you have something new.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And that is what's going to distinguish you. It's like, yeah, okay, it's a little bit weird, but we know that that's him. Like, he's up doing R&B parties, but he's got like a Thrasher shirt on or something.
Or like at a skate party, or skaters skating to R&B stuff.
But he's being true to himself, and I think that's kind of one of the things where it's like a little bit of my brand, and maybe not so much in 2024, but it's like, here's this white guy that looks like probably more of an IT guy than a DJ that's up here and knows black music and can like rock the party. Like, if you put a blindfold on, you may not know the difference, right? And so that is, I think, one of the things where it's like, oh, this is a little bit unique. We've got a little bit of an anomaly here where that's one of the most common things that people say to me is like, how do you know this music? What do you know about this music? But I know what they really mean, right? Which is like, hey, you're a white guy that you seem really immersed in this more so than, and it seems probably more authentic than, because they hear me talk, and I might say, you know what I'm saying every once in a while, but I don't have a thick St. Louis accent or whatever. So it's like, I'm still being my authentic self, but so far that works for me, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can kind of build on that, where it's like they see me and are gonna assume this about me, but then they hear me DJ and I blow their hair back because I'm DJing totally different than how they would expect somebody that looks like me would look.
I think that, again, like with you specifically, I think that you have you have two separate things that you could work with. You could definitely blend those two things together as an experiment, whether it's you like DJing R&B at a skate party or just being like the white guy with a Thrasher shirt on DJing,
it can go either way,
a black party or whatever.
Yep.
But I think that, again, going back to what I said, is like just injecting yourself into those situations, in those communities, and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm good at what I do, I like this community, I want to be a part of it, and I have something for it to contribute to it. So I think that that's like the key to all of this, right? Especially like with Matt's Tattoo Shop, right? Like, he's a tattoo artist first. He opened a business, and he's into art, he's into fashion, he's into hip hop, he's into music and movies, and so when you walk into his tattoo shop, that's what you see. You see art, you see movies, you hear hip hop, you hear different music, and then people are getting tattooed.
Yeah.
So, but that didn't come from like, that's who Matt is.
Yeah.
If Matt decided to not tattoo tomorrow, if he's like, I'm done, that's still going to be who he is. He's in he's into cars, he's into those things. So I think a lot of your brand, especially when you're like a tattoo artist or a DJ, where your product is more of, I don't know what the word would be, not a physical product like the mixer or a computer.
Putting your interests out on display.
Yeah, it's like your intellectual, what do you call it?
Creativity.
Creativity is your product.
Yeah.
Like, it is up to you on what you want it to be. Now, if you have a physical product, that's different, because then you have something, you're like, who am I going to sell this to? Like, you're not going to sell a DJ mixer to, on Rachel Ray's website.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Network.
On the Food Network. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a physical product you need to sell to a certain type of people, because you need to sell it to music people, not cooking people. But when you're, and that's kind of easy, right? All right, I built a DJ mixer or a audio mixer. I need to sell this audio mixer that I built to audio people, right, that want to use it. As a DJ, as a creative, an artist, a tattoo artist, whatever, it is a lot. I mean, and even still, like, even with the physical product, you had to decide what it was you were going to build, right? Like, Steve Jobs had to decide, what do I want to build?
Mm-hmm.
I want to build this high-end, sleek computer. This is what I want it to look like. Are you marketing people? Go get it in front of everybody that I want it to be in front of.
Well, and the equivalent of that in the DJ world is, there's probably some DJs that are butthurt because they're getting overlooked for gigs. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, but does your brand fit with that gig? Say there's like opening sets at Rise or whatever. It's like, well, I play house music. Does anybody know that you play house music?
Yeah.
Does anybody, like, have you built out that part of your brand where you're letting people know that, like, hey, this is
what I do.
I'm about that life,
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that's a big part of it too. Is just you might be sitting there scratching your head, and it's like, well, this is the first place that I would look. Is like, what is your brand? Because for me, I'm not getting booked for those opening sets at Rise, because every time people see me, I'm doing hip hop and R&B parties.
Are you even around those people, right? Are you inside that community? That's the other thing. Like, wherever you want to be, like, talk about Ahmad. Ahmad wanted to be a part of that, so that's what he put himself in. He injected himself into that situation. He was around those people. He wanted to know who was who. You know what I mean? He DJ'd that way, like when he would DJ, because he wanted to be a part of that situation. Yeah. The same thing with like hip hop or rap or whatever. Like, if you're in the EDM world, and you're like, man, I just really want to open up for Yo Gotti. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you gotta,
how's that gonna work?
And are you really ready? So like when Ahmad finally got his shot, and I don't know the story or whatever. We're just kind of saying his name, and I don't really know what happened. But when he got his shot, he showed up and he executed and he rocked it, and they were like, "Damn, okay." And then he got the call the next time, and then the next time and the next time, and now it's like he's associated. Like I would just assume if there's a big name EDM DJ coming in, he's probably one of the first names that you would think of as far as the opening DJ. There's a lot of others too, but he's a buddy of ours, so we can talk about him on here. But they get
themselves involved again. They get themselves involved with that, with that stuff, and they decide. Like it wasn't like I didn't tell Ahmad, "Hey man, you need to go do that." Ahmad decided that Ahmad wanted to be a part of that,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So like he's like, this is my brand. My brand is gonna be the opening EDM act DJ.
But he's got more than that. Like he's silly on social media. Like he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
He puts himself out there. He posts a lot, but a lot of it's like, but he also shows his interest too, the sneakers thing. So like he touches on a few different
but those things are kind of intermingled, right? Like sneakers are like, now sneakers have become such a synonymous thing with everything, whether it's hip hop or EDM or golf. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's involved with sneakers.
But he's showing you who he is. He's silly. He's into fashion and sneakers. Like when he goes out, he's posting. He's like letting you know what's going on with his life, and it's working for him. He's keeping you entertained and informed about what he's got going on. So like if you see one post where he's being silly, and then the next one is him promoting. But sometimes DJs, like, they don't post anything on social media except come see me this Friday night. Come see me this Friday night. Come see me this Friday night.
If you're not using social media to push whoever you are,
you're a brand, right?
You're losing. And that's why I said in the beginning, we start with social media, right? Because it's free. So everybody has access now, right, to push whatever it is they want to push, sell whatever it is they want to sell. So, way back in the day, before digital marketing was a thing, when it was like regular marketing, where it was billboards and TV and newspaper ads and magazine ads or whatever, that's why that stuff doesn't exist anymore, because of social media, basically, in the digital world. So now everybody has a social media account. So if you're a DJ and you're struggling to figure out, how do I do something? Get myself involved. Like the first thing I would do is go to social media. I mean, the first thing I would do is decide like where you want to be involved. Then I would find those people on social media and be a part of those groups on social media, and then let those people in those groups know what you do. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so like that's there's your marketing campaign right there.
Yeah.
All day. So if it's, man, I really want to be involved in, the EDM world or the hip hop world or whatever, all right, I need to figure out where those people are on social media in the digital world, get myself in those groups, and start letting those people know. Make mixes, make videos, and post it so those people will see it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you're going to tag them, you're going to use the hashtags, you're going to, collaborate on Instagram, you're going to do all these things to get them to see you. That's all it is. It's all marketing is brand awareness.
Let me say this too. I'm going to add one little, I know you don't like me to give all the sauce, but
I think we just gave all the sauce.
I mean, that was a lot of sauce. But to add to that, make content that people are going to want to share, because it's one thing. If I just made content that's just good enough that my friends on Facebook watch it and they're like, all right, that was cool, we saw something Alex did, great, right? But those people don't come see me DJ anyways, right? I know that they don't. But if I make something so dope that they're like, damn, I'm gonna repost this is good, because it's helping their brand, because they're posting dope shit, right? So that's my goal right now, is to try to put stuff out that's so good that my friends that are reluctant to support what I do for whatever reason, they'll support people that they don't know, but supporting, Well, they're supporting people that they don't know because those people are putting out higher quality content.
You think that's true though? I don't know if I agree with that. I think
that
like
maybe not necessarily like better mixtapes. They don't normally repost mixtapes, but they're reposting funny memes that are funnier than the jokes that I'm telling. So that's what I'm saying. It's
I think there's a lot of layers to that though, or a lot of like variables to that kind of stuff. Sometimes like
I'm just saying, be undeniable. Make your product so good that
that's so subjective though. That's super subjective, because when we talk about artistry, what one person thinks is amazing, another person thinks is trash. So I think that like, now granted, there are some like quality standards that you should follow as far as like posting on social media, right? Like make sure like you're following like whatever it is platform you're using, the right aspect ratios, uploading, if it's a video, make sure, you got some 1080p at least quality, right? We're living in 2024. But whatever your content may be, I mean, it's wild to me because if we've had this conversation, I think that there's like so much. There is no.
Spit it out.
There is no like. I don't even know what to say. Like, cause again, like it's wild. Like I've been watching, man. Like I've been seeing, and I send you stuff, and I'm like, look at this. Like 500,000 people think this is great. Like, but me by myself think it's trash. So it's like what's trash and what's not. Like again, like what's his name? Who's the guy that painted the DJ picture that everybody has?
But what if it
Justin Bua, right? Is that how you say his name?
What if it has 500,000 views because it's all a bunch of DJs sharing it with their friends saying, watch how trash this is?
I don't think that's the case.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I see what you're saying. But like Justin, I don't know how you say his name, Bua, who made the DJ picture that everybody has of the DJ in the room. You know what I'm talking about? I think you got the same.
The artist? Yeah,
the artist.
There's a bunch of different ones. There's a piano, there's a sax player.
Yeah. So I follow him on Instagram.
Okay.
And he reposts a lot of artist stuff that he's like, this is just trash. Like he's basically just like shitting on all this artist stuff that he reposts, right?
Okay.
But the thing is like he's reposting all these things that like so many people think are amazing, and he's just like, this is terrible, right? So it's like,
well, yeah, look, we agree that you should just post, even if it's not the highest quality. The more that you post, the better that you're going to get, the more comfortable you're going to get recording and doing whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get better. Like, don't not post because it doesn't meet a certain quality. But you, like, shoot for the stars. Like, try a little bit harder. If you're 1% better every time you post, in 100 posts, you're gonna have some high quality content. So we don't disagree. I'm not disputing what you're saying as far as like just go ahead and post it.
A barrier of entry though to, like, let's just use DJ mixes for example.
Okay.
Right now,
and we're at like an hour and a half, just so you know.
So we'll end it on this. Let's use DJ mixes for example. So like, now I would agree. Like, don't post a DJ mix where like every blend you did was just completely train wrecked and completely like you just missed the beat on everyone. Okay, sure. We got some work to do.
Okay,
but if you got one where it's like, oh, I kind of flubbed up there, or I kind of flubbed up here, but let's just say like 85% of it's pretty smooth, but nothing extravagant's going on. Like, I'm not scratching, I'm not, going back to back, I'm not doing anything crazy, anything like that stands out. Post it. That's postable, right? Like, now granted, again, I think that there is a barrier of entry to that standard of, all right, let's try to get these mixes for the most part together.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's like, man, I saw this DJ Craze video, or he was doing all this stuff, mine doesn't look like that, it's whatever. Or this is, I don't even think my boys or my friends will share this. And I think you kind of found this out with one of your mixes, right? Like, you're like, yeah, man, like, Q, you shared it, and Juice shared it. But, man, I was looking at the analytics, and, like, 500 people I don't even know shared this mix.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you never know with social media and the internet world, man. Put it out there because people are gonna see it and be like, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And if you're not putting out mixes or whatever, like it will blow your mind. You know, when you really sit and look and go, wow, all these people that I actually know, like if I saw them out, I know their name. They know my name. Mm-hmm. They're not sharing. They're not supporting. They're not listening. They're not whatever. But if you put it out there in the world, like your audience will come find you.
Yeah.
The people that are in, you know, if you build it, they will come. Like that. It's kind of that scenario where if you build that brand and you actually do the work and put things out, the world will come find you. It's crazy how things, you know, there's at some point an opportunity, like you will be somewhere and something will happen and someone will see when things will start to pop off. It's happened to me over and over and over again in my career where I just thought, okay, this is it. I guess I'm done. And somebody comes along and is like, no, you're not done. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, because
the
internet is the equalizer. You know what I mean? In the past, you know, I say, you know, I'm not a DJ that lives in New York or Miami or Las Vegas or whatever. I mean, yeah, I could still be somebody that pushes that envelope in the digital space. It's just like right now, like we were asking me that question, I'm just working on different stuff. But again, to go back to like the internet's equalizer, so like there's billions of people on the internet.
Yeah.
Billions, right? Like we can't even count. It might even be more than that at this point. So if you're constantly putting things out, you never know who's going to see it, and it lives there forever, you know, till we know. So somebody can always come across it. Like, so if you put out a mix today and then, you know, next week no one sees it, 6 months from now, somebody might see that mix. Right. And to you, it's old. It's 6 months old. Or it's 2 years old. Or it's 5 years old. To them, it's brand new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And a club owner, a promoter, a booking guy, whatever, like that's like your business card. Yeah. Where you may not get a lot of support currently, right? But then you put out a mix and it gets 20,000, 40,000 views or something. And then so when you talk to somebody, they're like, hey, you know, we're thinking about booking you or whatever. Do you have anything? And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to send you a link to this mix and they see that it's got 40,000 views. They go, yeah, holy shit, we need this guy. And that's going to be a bargaining chip for you to be able to raise your price a little bit. Like, no, I have value. Look, there's the proof's in the pudding. People like what I do, you know, and think about it. Like even out of town DJs or whatever, like I think that why would you book an out of town DJ? Well, you know, I saw, you know, mixes of them on YouTube and these, you know, they have all of these views and whatever. That could easily be you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know we got to go soon, but like break down like how it used to work. How it used to work is, hey, I DJ, and the promoter, the club owner, whoever, where do you DJ? Where can I come see you? And I DJ such and such. Okay, cool. Then you got to hope that they show up, and you got to hope that they show up on a good night, because if they show up and it's on a bad night, and they're like, oh man, this guy ain't whatever. But now again, the internet's the equalizer. Oh man. So what do you do? Oh, man, I got these mixes. Here's my link, YouTube. Boom, boom, check it out when you can. Number one, they can check it out anytime. They don't have to make a special trip to come see you. Remember, they can pull it up on their phone right there and say you do have a big following on YouTube, right? You got 40,000 views on a video or 50,000, 500,000 views. It's right there.
Yeah.
Boom. And how you get there is consistently posting and putting things up. And then, you know, just accumulating those subscribers, that viewership. You know, it's the same thing for like now, you know, before we were just bidding for like club owners and managers and you know, promoters and whatever to come see us DJ to book us at a club, right? Now there's so much more skin in the game. There's branding where it's, man, PlayStation saw my YouTube page. And now they want me to DJ a PlayStation event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or they want me to, they are, you know, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Ice Mountain wants me to have a bottle of water in my video. So, that's brand placement because I'm getting 1 million views every time I post a DJ mix. And Ice Mountain, the water company, wants me to help them sell their waters. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Ice Mountain, holler at me.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of opportunities out here dealing with the internet that don't involve you DJing at a club. Like, again, like back in the day, we were just trying to get gigs. Now with the internet, yeah, you can get gigs, but there's so much more out there to get. Right. Maybe Rachel Ray saw you and wants you to DJ on her show. It don't matter.
The cook up.
Right, all right. The cook up. There it is.
It's weird hour and a half.
Rachel Ray, what's the word? What's up with the cook up? What's up with the cook up?
I just wanted her to cook me some food.
Yeah, I'll DJ for a little plate or something. You know what I'm saying?
You got anything coming up this weekend?
No, man, I'm off this weekend, man. I'm doing some getting some things together at the crib for my digital situation that I've been working on. I actually got it together now, but I got a mix I'm about to put out.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Check me out, Tin Roof, on Sunday. And, let's be done. I think we've gone well over our time today.
That's all good. I think it's a good conversation, man, like figuring out these types of things and talking about these things.
Yeah.
Especially that whole branding, marketing thing, because I think that people have that same thought. That think that like a marketing team will tell them what their brand is.
My confusion led to a lot of exploration of that topic. So
for sure.
And
maybe there's some marketing teams out there that will try to tell you that. My opinion, don't listen to them because they can't tell you what you are.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe they can bring it out of you. They can help you to.
But I don't think I can tell Matt who he is as a tattoo artist.
No. But you can ask him questions to help define it so you can help Mark. Anyways, we're going in circles.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much for listening.
Peace.
And we'll hopefully do another one of these next week.
Yeah. It might be in a new location.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wink, wink. All right. Peace.
Wrong time, man.